Welcome to Pharos Technology. Today we're going to talk about formatting the fields in your database. We're going to specifically talk about date formatting, number formatting, and text formatting, all three. So let's go. So when we format the fields in the table, we want to look at the format field on the design view that is circled here on the picture. So the first thing we're going to do is look at numbers. So I have two different views here of where you would find numbers, the auto number field and the number field. And the way you format it is to actually put text in that field. Now you can choose the defaults, and that would be totally normal. But if you want to specialize, like you want the euro symbol in there instead of the dollar sign, or you want to be able to have commas for the thousand separator versus periods that might be in other parts of the world, or periods for the decimal separator, any one of those things can be customized. So the first two that are on the list is the period and the comma. The period and the comma at this point, if we're talking the United States, is the thousand separator for comma, and the period for separating where the decimal points start. A zero is a placeholder for a digit. The pound sign is a placeholder for nothing or a digit. In other words, zero makes it a mandatory entry that a number has to be there, where if you put a pound sign, it's a placeholder for a digit. Then a dollar sign can be placed on the left side of the whole field so that it appears when you've done putting in the number. And then if you want to use a percent, the percent sign will multiply the value times 100, and then it adds a percent sign. Now, that makes it a little bit interesting when people are putting data in. When they're looking for 5%, they need to put in 0.05. So 5% is 5/100ths, normal. So when it appears as a number in your data, it appears as 5 and a percent sign. The big E or the little e signify scientific notation is used, and it's negative if there's a dash and positive if there's a plus sign afterwards. Okay, you can create custom formats of any kind of a number. Like, for example, when you have an accounting field, a lot of times you want the positive numbers to appear normally with a dollar sign. You want the negative numbers to appear possibly red with a parentheses around the number in that field. So the way that you construct that kind of thing is that Access allows you to have 4 different sections in your field. The first one for the format for positive values, the second one for negatives, the third format if there's a 0 value in there, the third space, and how would you handle a null value? The null value has a place in the fourth area. And so here's an example down here where it shows in the bottom here 0, 0, 0, 0, okay, and they're going to have this be colored green, and then a semicolon separates each of the sections. So the second section here you have that's going to be red, and they're going to put parentheses around it, and it's going to appear red for negative values. And then if there's just a 0 in there, it's going to put leave the word 0. And then if there's no value at all, in other words, nothing was entered, it just appears with a dash. And a lot of times in an accounting field, that's exactly the way you see most of that data represented. So let's move on to text formatting. So I have short text up here, but short text or long text can be done either way. Long text, not so much, because generally you put that as a memo and it's regular unformatted text. But for short text, a lot of times you'll want to format it in a visible way. And there's really not much that you do with a short text field. There are only 4 characters that worry about. The at character is a character where a character or a space is required. In other words, you can put ats there saying that it needs to be filled in with at least 6 characters. Maybe you've got a student number or an employee number, that employee number needs to be a certain number of characters, but you know it's alpha numeric and the character needs to be there. Okay, so you can put 6 at symbols to make sure that they fill in all of those characters. And ampersand fills in and says a character is optional, not required. The less than sign forces all characters to lowercase. In other words, even if you type uppercase, when it saves it in the database, it'll save it as lowercase. And the next one forces all characters to their uppercase equivalents. So that's really all you have to worry about with a short text field in text formatting. This one also has the ability to format different sections. For example, the first section is format for fields that do contain text. The second section, if you don't want anything there, the second section is format that have zero-length strings. And the third section is for null values. Now, understand that if somebody puts a space in, then backspaces it out, it's no longer null. So that's what it means by a zero-length string. So you can have these other two sections to format the field such that if there's no value in there at all, it puts in what you want to have put in there. So let's move on to date formatting. Now, date formatting, you see I have a date time selected in the data type, and you format, in this case, is on the top of the list. So date formatting is a little peculiar. There's a lot of different elements to a date. So let's look at the different things. Now, in a general date, for example, if you just drop down the list, you can choose some of the common ones. And we'll notice that a long date just has Thursday completely spelled out, the day of the week completely spelled out, the month of the year completely spelled out, and then 2-digit days and a full 4-digit year. If you choose a medium date, you just get 12 November 15, 2 digits for the year, and the abbreviation 3 characters for the month. Short date gets even more abbreviated with numbers only, with slashes separating them with month, day, and year. Then you get the long time, which gives you hours, minutes, and seconds, and uses AM/PM format. In other words, it does not use the 12-hour format. And that's going to be critical as we come up here, because we'll talk about specific times when you'd use the 24-hour format. Now, the medium time just shows you hour, minutes, and puts the AM/PM. It is also a 12-hour format. Now, the short time, you notice that says 1734, is the 24-hour format. But what if you want a long date and you don't want an AM/PM, you want it in military or 24-hour time? We'll show you how to get there, okay? So a colon separates the different time elements, hours, minutes, seconds. Slashes separate the different date elements, years, months, and days. So colons for time, slashes for dates. So here's the 4 different ways to use the date symbol. The single D displays the month as 1 or 2 digits. In other words, 1 through 9 will be a single digit, and the rest through 31 will be double digits. DD displays 2 digits all the time. DDD gives you the abbreviated day of the week in 3 characters. And then 4Ds spells out the day of the week completely. If you want months, it follows the same kind of scheme here. A single M displays the month of the year with 1 or 2 digits. Double M is always 2 digits. 3 M's is the 3-letter abbreviation. And 4 M spells it out completely. The years, you have 2 Y's for the 2-digit year, 4 Y's for the 4-digit year. And then you get the specialized ones that come along. The Q displays the quarter of the year. In other words, you can actually tell what quarter, 1, 2, 3, or 4. Y displays the day of the year 1 through 366. Now 366 for the leap day, okay, normally 365. So it displays the day of the year. And that's a lot of times important when you're putting together a manufacturing calendar, because they need to know what day of the year it has been. Now you use a single W and you get the day of the week, a number 1, 2 through 7, with 1 starting on Sunday and 7 ending on Saturday. And then 2 W's shows the week of the year. So you've got two different entries here where you can see the day of the year and the week of the year, which can be very valuable when you're putting together various types of calendars. Now let's get on to time. Single H is a single digit time until it gets to 10. Two H's is always 2 digits. An N, remember we already used the M for months, so it's N for minutes. 1 digit for single N, 2 digits using a double N. And then S, a single S is single digits up till 9 through 9, and then 10 and up it's 2 digits, where the double S is both digits at all times, 0, 1, for example. So AM, PM automatically puts it in 12-hour format, either in uppercase or lowercase, whichever one you want. You can also use the single letter A and the single letter P, which will just put an A or a P instead of an AM or PM. And the lowercase a and P follow that same pattern. So what you have here is the ability to put together a very robust date system where you can see all of the different elements from a quarter or a year or day of the week, day of the year, all those different elements to build whatever kind of date that you want. Well, I hope this has been useful to you. I'm sorry I didn't do much of a demo on this one, but this is just a lot of information. And hopefully you've been able to get a flavor for the patterns that arise, like using the H's and single H's and S's and single S's, the different time elements versus the different date elements. So I hope you found value in this video. If so, please hit that like button, and we'll look forward to seeing you again later. Thanks.